Philip Jayhawk Chand is the president and CEO of Lightspeed Investing, and he brings a unique perspective to the world of finance and investing. As a once aspiring surgeon who experienced the depths of burnout and disillusionment within the medical field, Philip's journey took an unexpected turn when he stumbled upon the transformative power of Lightspeed Investing. With newfound hope and determination, he embarked on a relentless pursuit of knowledge, immersing himself in the intricacies of different asset classes. It was through a serendipitous collaboration with a group of former medical professionals, now turned investment experts, that Philip unlocked the secrets to accelerating wealth creation in ways that surpass his wildest dreams. And before we start the episode, a quick word from our sponsor, Deep Wealth and the Deep Wealth Mastery Program. Here's Bill, a graduate, who says, the Deep Wealth Mastery Program has transformed the KPIs we're using to accelerate growth and profits. Or how about Emery, who says, and I love this, and I quote, the Deep Wealth Mastery Program helped me create the right mindset for both growing my business and later my future exit. I now know what questions to ask, what to do and not to do, which is priceless. The team and I have found dangerous skeletons and gaps that we're now addressing due to the Deep Wealth Program. Today, our actions have a massive ROI. Absolutely love that. And now, speaking of growth and adding value, check out what Bruce says. And I quote, as a business owner, I'm always looking for new programs, systems, CEO peer groups, and strategies to improve my business. Hands down, the Deep Wealth Mastery Program is the absolute best. I'm both growing my business and preparing for a future exit at the same time. It doesn't get any better. And I got to tell you, as I hear these testimonials, this is exactly why I do what I do. My mission, the team's mission here at Deep Wealth, is to literally change the social fabric of society, one business owner at a time and one liquidity event at a time. The Deep Wealth Mastery Program, it's the only one based on a 9-figure deal. And that deal, that was my deal. You know my story. I said no to a 7-figure offer. I created a system that we now call Deep Wealth Mastery, and that's exactly what helped myself and my business partners welcome from a different buyer, a different offer, a 9-figure deal. So if you're interested in growing your profits, preparing for a future liquidity event, whether that's 3 years away or 33 years away, and if you want to optimize your post-exit life, Deep Wealth Mastery is for you. Please email success@deepwealth.com. Again, that's success, SUCCESS, at deepwealth.com. We'll send you all the information about the Deep Wealth Mastery Program, otherwise known as the Scale for Ultimate Sales System. Better yet, why not hop on a complimentary strategy call? We'll see where you are at your business and what's standing between you and your financial independence and your dreams. So that's where you want to be. You want to be with other successful business owners, entrepreneurs, and founders just like you who are looking to create market disruptions. Whether you're a startup, whether you've been in business for 3 or 4 decades, whether you're manufacturing, whether you're high tech, SaaS, low tech, whatever the case may be, come on in and network with other business owners, with other businesses just like you, because they all want to lock in their financial freedom and enjoy both success and fulfillment. Again, the 90-day Deep Wealth Mastery Program, it has your name on it. All you need to do is take the next step. Please send an email to success@deepwealth.com. Welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast. Well, we have our friend Philip Chand, a fellow entrepreneur, thought leader, rock star in his industry. He is back on the podcast. And Deep Wealth Nation, what we're doing today, really, it's a fireside chat from one business owner to another business owner. And today, Philip is going to share with us, he's going to reveal his secret sauce, because he literally started with this amazing idea. And from there, really with nothing, just with this idea, he has built out his company. They're winning all kinds of awards. They're growing by leaps and bounds. They're doing some amazing things out there. But let me put a plug in it right there. So Philip, welcome back to the Deep Wealth Podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. And Philip, since you were last on the podcast, our community, we are so blessed. Our community has continued to grow. So for the new members that perhaps didn't hear the earlier podcast, and we'll put that in the show notes, Philip, what's your story? What got you from where you were to where you are today?
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much, Jeff. First and foremost, glad to be here. And for me, I was someone that's always forging my own path. I was supposed to take over my dad's accounting firm in Hong Kong. And I said, thanks, no thanks. Because one, I'm a city boy that loves the suburbs. And two, I didn't want to wake up and do people's taxes. So when he was like, okay, kiddo, what do you want to do? I said, I have no clue. Let me explore the medical field and go from there. At the time, being a surgeon really resonated with me because of the hands-on aspects, because I've been an athlete my whole life. But as I became more and more immersed within preparing myself to become a world-class surgeon, I realized long term that was not the right path for me in terms of long-term happiness and fulfillment. And so it was one of those things where I really had to self-reflect on how can I really achieve my own personal goals and dreams alongside business, as business is meant to be a great vehicle to create wealth and create impact accordingly, so that I can also fulfill a lot of, like I said, personal goals and dreams that I had. So when I ventured into entrepreneurship, yeah, man, it was several iterations before I got it right, so to speak. And when we're talking about Lightspeed investing, we're talking about the part of me where I was blessed to have come across my current business partner now, where when I first started and I met him, now remember, I was always really intentional about putting myself in high caliber rooms to network with high caliber people. So by myself in my lonesome, I found all things with business and leadership development. That was my footing. And so I created an international consulting firm called Leadership Visions International, geared towards preparing emerging leaders and training and grooming current leaders on how to become the best leaders they possibly can be. And while I was doing that, I met this gentleman who just had an amazing expertise and 15-year track record of leveraging the futures and commodity financial markets the right way, right? And so when I had met this gentleman who is now my business partner, I wanted to learn. And from the get-go, we knew that personality-wise, there was probably going to be a great alignment. This is someone that when I met him, I ended up talking to him for about an hour and a half and walking out of the event that we were at together, right? And we continued to maintain contact. Now, what he had to offer was quite intriguing to me. Given him after about a month's worth of assessment, I decided to sign up as a client first and foremost. And during those client situations, I learned how to take a couple $100 to over a couple $1,000, which was really, in the grand scheme of things, very insignificant because it opened up conversations for how we can potentially partner up together and do even bigger things by leveraging our unique strengths and skill sets that we have both cultivated. So really at ground zero for Lightspeed investing was these conversations, because what ended up happening was we decided to give each other a test trial of a business partnership. And during this trial, about a month or so, he held up his end of the bargain and I held up my end. Ultimately, I was able to help bring in 5 clients that first month. But on top of that, really provide a lot of ideas, doubled our prices. I raised our enterprise value, so to speak, internally. And we also laid out a plan of how the partnership would look like, what I would be responsible for, mainly utilizing my strengths around leadership development to help build the team, expand the team, convert the educational division to also a recruiting division in a way. Now that we've been in business together for about a year and a half, a lot of our clients are also what I call longevity clients that have ultra conviction in what we're doing, and they also want to help out accordingly. It's just a very high level overview of how I got started. We both belong to the Grant Cardone 10X community, a community of high caliber entrepreneurs that want to achieve more. The idea was, when you look at someone like Grant, who has built a business education empire that's doing 250, 300 million a year. Well, and we look at this firm that he's built for the past 15 years, which is an 8-figure business without any online presence, any omnipresence, right, with social media, digital marketing, and branding. The main idea that you're talking about from ground zero is, well, okay, what if we intentionally built out an educational division with the digital space, right? If someone like Grant is able to create something for the masses, right, and also build a 250, 300 million enterprise with business education, why can't we in trading education, especially with the asset class that we're talking about, with the trading methodologies that and the systems that we have that we use to manage money the right way? And so if we taught it to others on a bigger scale, not only can they benefit of learning how to become financially independent, but in a way, it's also that personal challenge as well, seeing what someone else was able to accomplish and seeing if we could live up to that record and also break it. So that's really where it all came from, origin story wise.
Wonderful. So much there to unpack. I really want to do a couple of things. First, let me start with this because I love how, as part of your journey, you're going down to be a doctor of all things. My goodness, all the years of schooling and everything else. And some of it sounds like, was some family pressures, perhaps, that was put upon you and expectations. So many entrepreneurs. I know for myself, I was also in the same path, although I chose the medical profession initially for all the wrong reasons. People in the Deep Wealth Nation know I wanted to be a dentist because I wanted to be rich, and that was it. It was all about the money. I didn't care about anything else. And wow, what a miserable journey that was for me.
Bad way to get into medicine for sure. If we're being fully transparent, I chose surgery. That's what I did. I looked at the most lucrative careers
Yep.
at the time, according to US News and whatever. And from that list, I was like, what is the one that makes the most sense to me? And I'm like, surgery because of the personality and the hands-on aspects. I was like, all right, this is my route. I didn't want to take over my dad's accounting firm. Remember that. I'm like, I'm
Right.
not sitting and crunching numbers. That's not what I'm doing.
And so let me ask you this. How did you know that you're going down this path? Hey, this is not for me. I'm going to put a pause in it. Yes, I'm probably going to disappoint family members, those around me, the circle around me, but this is not for me. I'm going to go in a different direction. It just, I don't know, whatever it
Yeah,
is,
it
not my
got to a
destiny.
point where I was just hustling. I was like,
Yep.
but I was sacrificing so much,
Mm-hmm.
and I also was not enjoying the day to day. And I
Uh-huh.
just think that there had to be a better way. And now, and this is where my personal journey kicks in. I'm in Overland Park, Kansas, and I'm blessed to be Jayhawk raised here in this championship state. Going to KU, which is a huge national powerhouse, and basketball's always had a way of influencing my upbringing as well and
Mm-hmm.
pulling me in. For me, I thought about, okay, well, maybe I would become a team physician, orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine, and I would be around the team. Ultimately, what I realized, first and foremost, is with the hustle and the grind of medicine, you always have to put medicine first, right? You've got to put the patients first, even before yourself, before your own well-being, which is ironic. If we're healthcare providers, shouldn't we be the ones operating from a full cup? And that's a whole different conversation. But from an institutional standpoint, I did not agree with how things were done within the
Mm-hmm.
healthcare system in terms of training, and it just didn't make sense. And more importantly, I was not happy. And I also knew, okay, by being either a plastics, orthopedic, or cardiothoracic surgeon, I was looking at a minimum of plus minus $500,000 in my annual salary, which is great to most people. But what's the exchange? Well, the exchange is plus minus 500,000, but I'd be doing surgeries all day, every day. I'd be stuck
Mm-hmm.
in the room. I'd be in the hospital. The idea is I would have money, but I wouldn't have time.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, right? And so what am I going to do with all that money? I'm just going to be tired, frustrated, and not the best version of myself. And really, I've always had a business personality coming from Hong Kong that, okay, maybe I do something with medical devices, innovation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bringing the business side of me to medicine. The only issue is that I couldn't wait 15 years to do that because when you go through something like med school or preparing for med school, and you got to study like 8 hours for the mock MCAT because we have to take the new version. It's like the only time I would get to talk to someone was during food breaks or when I would go get my Starbucks, right? And as from this
Mm-hmm.
point, I have a natural business personality. And what I found was that that modality of the daily grind, the daily requirements to do what I got to do diminished my natural personality. It took away my core self because I didn't get to talk to people. And obviously, I enjoy being in meetings, talking business, negotiating, learning, and growing. But mainly, the fact that I had my, my voice taken away from me, that was huge. That was like
Mm-hmm.
cause of depression. And I just felt so locked up. The fact that you had to sit down and study 10, 12 hours a day. I would even have standing desks, but it's not healthy for you. And I would be
Right.
agitated. I wouldn't be able to work out. I can average 4 to 6 hours on the basketball court when I play. So it just was not conducive. I just, on all aspects. And so that's really where I knew I had to make a change. Initially, I was just grinding through it. Oh, you got to sacrifice, you got to pay the price. But I just knew that there was a better way of doing things. And now I'm glad to be in this position because I think I mentioned this to you. I always say, as president and CEO, I'm blessed to work part time, full time, and overtime. But at the same time, I don't work at all. And the reason is because one, not only do I truly love what we do here, but more importantly, I love who I do it with and the business partners that I get to work with, clients that I get to work with. That's really able to make me feel fulfilled, happy, and creates an everlasting joy inside that would just be not comparable if I was working in the hospital. I get to work from
Got
home.
it.
I get to
Mm-hmm.
work. get to travel for business and basketball. I get to take calls and while I'm traveling and check out different sceneries. It's just a whole different work structure. I'm not confined to anything.
So, what I'm hearing, and what a great takeaway for the Deep Wealth Nation, you really listened to yourself, not so much in your words, but in your feelings, how you felt. It sounds like you were frustrated, you were depleted of energy. And yes, in business, we can be frustrated and depleted of energy. It was something, though, that you felt was, I can't do this long term. This just doesn't rev me up. It's not where I want to be. And that's when you took the courageous decision. You followed your inner voice. And that leads me to the second question, which is really the follow up from the first. So, for the benefit, particularly of the new listeners, you started with a business partner, someone that you met at, we'll call it a CEO peer group, and you started Lightspeed Investing. So, from a very high level, Philip,
Yeah.
what's Lightspeed Investing? What's different about it? And why Lightspeed Investing? You could have really done anything.
Yeah, so Lightspeed Investing is the embodiment of the joint venture that I am engaged in with my current business partner, right? So Lightspeed Investing is the online division of this private investment firm based in both Kansas and Florida. Now, this private investment firm's already got a track record of 15 years, right? Where first and foremost, we've been successful in managing money for high net worth individuals on a satisfactory and consistent basis, where mainly a huge core of these individuals are also medical professionals. And as we have obviously been in business for the past decade plus, we have business owners that work with us as well, executives, founders, and other professionals like CPAs, real estate investors, and people looking to get out of their 9 to 5, people looking to take control of their own destiny and become their own boss, right? But what we recognized though was that this firm has been around the past 15 years. It's an 8-figure firm, again, with zero online presence, because it's mainly been built off of word of mouth and relationships. Because when you make money for someone who, let's say they own a yacht, and they're going to naturally have friends of similar wealth and similar caliber. So when we manage money for a fellow medical professional, right, which by the way starts at $500,000 and up, if you do well and perform on that capital, their friends are going to hear about it, and then they find their way to us again. So the idea is, okay, yeah, we have this 15-year infrastructure, but if you look at someone like a Grant Cardone and what he's doing, since that is the community that we met at, we were like, well, what if we did something similar, except we wouldn't be business education, we would be in the trading education space.
Mm-hmm.
And so Lightspeed Investing is the embodiment of that idea, like I said, going more so to the public to create additional awareness and exposure to a way of making money that you would not naturally find within college curriculums and college programs, because unless you're someone heavily immersed within the financial districts of the world, it would just be very difficult to be privy to this kind of information. You have to realize the methodology that this firm really where it comes from is from two great gentlemen. One is John Arnold, who after graduating from Vanderbilt took 1.5 million to 1.5 billion in 2.5 years because he traded the commodity natural gas the right way. And this is what allowed him to be coined one of the youngest billionaires in the US at age 33 back in 2007. The other gentleman is James Simmons. Now, James Simmons recently passed away at age 86, early May of this year. And his net worth is now a little bit over $30 billion. But the interesting thing is that it did not take Mr. James Simmons 86 years to amass that kind of wealth. It only took him about 15 years, as he did not get into this game until his late 60s, early 70s, right? Now, the reason why he was able to accomplish what he accomplished was because he is one of the pioneers in our field that figured out automated software trading across multiple markets within futures and commodities. So you have to realize the futures and commodity financial markets is an asset class within derivatives, right? It's under alternative investments. We're in the same neighborhood as stock options, cryptocurrencies, foreign exchange or Forex, as well as arts and luxury timepieces. And inherently, there's more risk and volatility in these markets. But the thing is, the reason why most people lose money with it is because they don't know what they're doing. They're very apprehensive because they have no system, they have no structure to go about these markets, to approach these markets the right way. So for us, we look at 5 to 7 factors, and only when these factors are in confluence, in unison, and in alignment do we ever enter in a trade. So in a way, very similar to medicine, the main difference between diagnosing these charts and diagnosing your x-rays, your MRI scans, your CT scans, and your blood work, is that these charts actually print us money. So what we do is we are looking to diagnose these charts the right way, and only when the right setups present itself do we ever enter in a trade, and that's how we can make these markets like our own personalized ATM machine. And that's why, because of these methodologies, right, we've been able to manage money successfully for high net worth individuals, as well as teach others a skill set that they can have for the rest of their life. And not only can they have it for the rest of their life, but grow and scale it accordingly, so that not only can they use these markets like their own ATM machine, but really garner a lot of exciting opportunities. Because when you have trading as a fundamental skill set and you're able to do well with it, capital comes your way, right? Because you have to realize, Jeffrey, when you can trade really well, you first start by trading for yourself. You then trade for others, which is our money management, assets under management division. But if you have a track record to now back it up 5 years and more, you can actually trade for institutions and even bigger groups. So recently, we were able to sign a contract for us to trade a trust account that will have up to $250 million in it. And these things just recently happened. 5 years ago, we were able to secure a SBLC partnership, standby letter of credit, with an international bank of Canada called Nova Scotia or Scotia Bank for $200 million. And what that means is this is a standby letter of credit partnership where that bank was willing to put up $200 million in capital for us to trade. And the firm ultimately profited about $70 million. So what I'm trying to share with you is the fundamental skill set is very versatile and lucrative because of the doors that it can open for you down the road as well.
Terrific. I love how you just gave us an overview of your business and what makes it unique for our listeners. So now that we have that, we have the story behind the story of how you left the medical profession. You went into this business, otherwise known as Lightspeed Investing. So all of that said, again, you've been in business for just a few short years. You've done some remarkable things in that period of time. Part of it sounds part of your secret sauce, selecting the right business partner. And that can be everything. It sounds like the two of you just bring a unique dynamic to the table.
Oh, yeah.
You're focusing on one area, your partner's focusing on the other area. It all works. So putting that aside, what would be some other strategies, Philip, that you've done with the business to really make it stand out? Because let's face it, the industry that you're in, wow, it's noisy. You are up against, let's call them competitors who have been around in some cases for decades. They have billions of dollars at their disposal. Yet here you are, you're this upstart, you're making waves, you're really winning the business. What would be some of your secret sauce that you can share with the Deep Wealth Nation?
And I'm so glad you asked that, because I just have to sit here and reflect. But I would say the two main things to really pay attention to is intentionally stacking high income skill sets, because that's what got me here first and foremost. My business partner would have never even entertained the idea of us doing a test trial if, number one, I was not an aspiring surgeon. So isn't that funny, Jeffrey? Because he told me that emphatically, because he's a former internal medicine physician who's also born and raised in London. When you go through medical training, the thing is, the reason for the high MCAT GPA scores and all of those things to be in place for your resume is because we're inherently dealing with people's lives, right? People's lives are at stake. So when you get trained as a medical professional, it's pretty important that we are correct, right? In that sense, whether you like it or not, it comes with the territory. And if we're not correct, then people's lives are at stake. First and foremost, even though I left the medical field, it wasn't like all of that training and character development and personal development went to waste. Because isn't it ironic and serendipitous that the business partner that I'm now in business with is also a former internal medicine physician who did not find fulfillment in the medical field, right? But also the fact that I came from that space, he felt more comfortable, right? Because he knew that we were on the same page in regards to the standards of execution and things to expect from each other. He knew that he didn't have to get on me for me to work hard and be diligent and be prudent, double checking, triple checking things. What I would say is the two biggest factors is going after high income skill sets and going after quality relationships that make the most sense for you. Because before I met my business partner, I was intentional in becoming the best business owner that I possibly can be. And I knew I had to invest in myself, and I had to go through certain trainings to cover the areas that I feel like I needed to cover as a competent business owner. You've got to get your leadership down, get your marketing, your sales, client fulfillment, and then learn how to put systems in place to grow and scale that accordingly. So for me, I had gone through several programs, and actually at the time I was going through a program called Elite Closers, where it was a program geared towards high ticket sales. Okay, because I was making money off of monthly membership recurring subscriptions with my leadership clients. But I would describe them as more low and mid ticket, right? So then I'm like, okay, well, how do I introduce them to my more high ticket products and services in a way that could be done smoothly? So I knew I had to really put my hat on and embrace the teachings around doing high ticket sales the right way. See, so I had the elite closers thing, I had the leadership development thing, I was part of the 10X community, I was also surgically trained. So that put my business partner at ease because I'm able to show up to the negotiation table with something to bring, with something to offer. I call this, in a sense, a proposal announcement, where I'm able to make a proposal and negotiate with you, but because it's coming from a place of substance and depth, it's not really an ask. It's really, like I said, a proposal announcement, because I get to be able to propose something with leverage, and you're going to look at that proposal as opposed to being turned off by it and want to run away from it. You would want to embrace it because there's so much there that you can benefit from. Going after high ticket skill sets and also being really intentional with the relationships I'm cultivating, because at the end of the day, business owner to business owner, no matter what vehicle of business that we're in, whether it be doctor, lawyer, engineer, restaurant owners, investing, trading, that's just the different modalities of doing business, the vehicle of business. But at the end of the day, no matter what, we're all in the people business. Because when you shake hands and do business with IBM and Nike or Apple, you're not doing it with the entity, you're doing it with the individual representing the entity. Having know-how in communicating to different personalities and connecting with them accordingly to where they want to do something with you, that has always been something that I paid attention to as well. So not only is it important for you to have that technical skill set, I would say a variety of technical skill sets that when put together make you super powerful, but being able to communicate and connect with the right personalities that will really take everything to the next level, that's the fuel to the fire.
What's interesting, one of your, call it outlooks or philosophies, what I'm hearing you say is, hey, I'm going after the higher end of the market. And I have to share with you that my philosophy has always been like that. I never want to be the biggest company out there. I want to be the most profitable. And when achieving that, if that means by going after the higher end of the market, I have fewer customers. And with fewer customers, I need less staff, a smaller operations. It's more of an enjoyable experience for the entire team. For me, that's something that resonates. Other business owners of, hey, I want to be the biggest out there. I want to have gazillions of clients. Really, though, it sounds like one of the key decisions for you was, let me focus on the high-end market, which is going to eliminate probably the vast majority of other potential clients, but that's okay. There's a lot to go around. I'm going to focus on the ultra wealthy or those that are aspiring to get there, and that's my target market. How am I doing with that?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And by nature, when we manage money, again, it's got to be 500,000 and up. That's the first division, which is the reason why we created the second and third division in our educational component with our automated software. Because when you get to learn the skill set, you don't need $500,000 for us to do it for you. You can learn how to utilize the skill sets that we use to manage money and do it with us together. And the whole idea is we're able to recruit and train people competently for a good fee. Let's talk about colleges, for example, right? Depending on what schools you go to, you're talking about 5 or 6 figures in student loans, 4 to 5 years on average. And you come out with a 60% chance of getting an entry-level position that can garner 30, 40, or 50K in terms of starting salary. Now, a good problem that we have is that we don't have issues with capital, nor do we have issues with getting access to high caliber relationships.
Sure.
The one thing that we could really get better at is having resources that perform well on the capital that we have. Because as I mentioned, we just got a contract that will allow us to trade up to $250 million. And by the way, when we trade and we get new results, let's say, Jeff, you invested $1 million with us. We don't use the whole $1 million, right? We're very strategic. We're very, very precise. So we would take a small chunk of that and we would demonstrate results before adding in more money. right? We
Mhm.
always scale into it. We don't just start with a huge lump sum and not be prudent in that sense. The point is, if you look at our program, our core bread and butter is a 4-month training program where
Mhm.
we teach you the skill set. Now, not everything is guaranteed for, let's just throw it out there. But here's the deal. If you can prove to us that you're competent after going through this program, that's going to give us confidence to allocate capital for you to trade. And so if you can prove to us that you can trade really well, we'll allocate some of that $250 million and see how you can grow it. Because at the end of the day, that's what the model of John Arnold was. He privately trained about 350, 400 traders before he became a billionaire. If you look at Valero, the gas company in Texas, I believe Blackstone trained Valero, where Valero has actually got an entire floor for traders, about 82 of them. What this allows any company to do is allocate, say, 5 to 10% of their earnings, give it to their traders. Think about this trading department like a sales department, but the difference is a sales department, you no longer have to pick up the phone to close deals because you have that sales department. Well, with the trading department internally, you don't have to worry about ups and downs in the business and sales cycle, right? You could utilize your trading department and still be able to generate income internally without talking to people, without setting meetings with prospective clients, because that's what we're able to offer. So the whole point is for us, not only did going after higher caliber relationships make sense, just because of the fact that that's how we manage money, that's how the firm was built. But on top of that, yes, it gives them that dedicated time, but it also will come back to us because if we're not looking for quantity, we're looking for quality. So we're able to train candidates that we can, who's now competent and who we now have a relationship and we can now trust, then that will also alleviate some of the fiduciary responsibilities that we have because we can say, hey, all right, we got $250 million. We can't trade all of it, but hey, we can have you trade some of it.
Got it.
So it's a good synergy. It's a good win for all parties involved for that reason.
And Phil, the other thing that I'm picking up as you're sharing this, what's interesting, so many entrepreneurs, particularly when they start, they have a mindset, which we don't agree with here at Deep Wealth, is I need to create something that no one has done before. It's completely unique. I'm going to invent the next wheel, so to speak. What you've done with your business partner, somebody else went out there, they created the system that worked for them. They became the fastest gazillionaire ever in history. You took that, you deconstructed it, you put it into a model where others are learning from that. You're doing the heavy lifting for them. And so, in one way, you're not unique. You didn't invent the system. Yet, in another way, you took what was already out there, you made it your own. You're giving full attribution and credit where it's due. So, you're not saying, hey, this is all us when it wasn't. So, good on you for doing that. You put your own spin on it, on something that's already proven. And wow, talk about a fast track to the market. And Deep Wealth Nation, are you looking at an additional service or even in startup mode? What are we going to do? Well, look what Philip did. He took the success built on someone else that speaks for itself. It's known, it's quantified, it's proven, it's out there. And then he put that into a very unique offering that really only you guys are doing. And that's what sets you apart and puts you in your own category. So I love how you did that and how you said, hey, we don't have to be the inventor of it. We'll just take it, make it our own, make it even better. Would love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, it's all about studying success and emulating success, right? And also coinciding with the concept of working smarter and not harder. Now, obviously, there are certain things, and if you're super passionate about it, then go for it. The Wright brothers, right? Before aviation was a thing, they created it. The person that figured out radio transmissions, he was put in an insane asylum because he was talking about how, I want to create something where, the other person on the other side of the world can hear what I'm saying. And they just thought he was crazy. And then you look at people like Steve Jobs and things of that nature. So innovation, right, is definitely not something to downsize, right? But is it going to take a lot of work? Of course. Just look at the journeys that all of these people have went through. So in a sense, what is done here as a primary example is we put innovation on something that already generated traction, that was already successful, that was already respectable in the market. And in a sense, the R&D, the research and development was already done for us, right? We didn't have to do the research and development on ourselves. In a way, we do now for the online division, but in terms of this natural substance of the business, yeah, the way was already paved. and we just sought out to make it better. That's really how we approach this concept,
It's
this story.
interesting that, Philip, you used the example of Marconi, who's the Italian inventor who
Yeah.
created the radio wave. So can you imagine it's the, if I'm not mistaken, the late 1800s. Can you imagine someone walking up to you, by the way, I'm going to make it possible for you to hear someone else, maybe a few hundred miles away or halfway around the world. You can't see it. It's invisible, but it's just going to appear.
Yeah, and
Can you imagine how
he's talking about frequency waves. The people put him in an asylum because for that exact reason. They're like, what are you talking about, dude?
the other interesting thing about that, Philip, so one, he stuck to his vision. Thank goodness he did, because from there it was radio waves and later on to tons of
I
other
can
things.
attribute that to a modern day example would be space travel and time travel as well.
Mhm.
It's like those three things is what I would say.
What was also interesting about that, absolutely, he stuck with his vision. And Philip, I wanted to check in with you as you're out there, you're starting this business. I'm sure your family is looking at you. What, this guy gave up being in the medical profession to start some kind of online business, and others around you perhaps who didn't get it were perhaps talking in a negative way, maybe not the best mindset. And like Marconi, I can just see you out there sticking to your vision. Maybe you're not sharing with the outside world what the plans are. You're just going to show them, not tell them. Let your actions be your words. What was that like for you?
Well, again, it wasn't as I would say as difficult just on the business side of things because we were already generating traction. I would say what's actually more difficult is utilizing the business for my personal goals and dreams, which for the listeners, yes, to really get a perspective is if I have to own an NBA team just to put myself on the roster, then that's the way that I'm going to get it done.
Sure.
So really, it's the personal aspiration. I would say, Jeffrey, that's even more of a innovation than anything compared to the business. Because you have to realize in business, I have help, right? I have my business partner who is, not just a business partner. He's also my big brother and mentor. He's about a decade older than me, right?
Mhm.
So there's a lot of wisdom, experience that come with that. Yeah, and at the beginning of this partnership, it was just me and him. But again, the reason why I got brought on is because of my natural expertise and training with all things leadership. So my promise to him was, hey, I'll help you blow this thing up. I'm really good at recruiting. I'll help build the team and I'll train the team and I'll instill a culture of excellence that is unparalleled here. And that's exactly what I've done. Our internal team is huge now and huge with quality people, right? I'm talking about under 10 people, almost two hands, but these are all people that are high quality and a huge majority of them started as clients, similar to me, clients who are now internal team members. Because of that, I would say I actually don't have as much backlash because of the support system, right? I'm not doing it out here alone. I have people that I can point to, and man, if I get them on the phone, if I get them on the Zoom, you would recognize these are type A players as well. As we're very selective, obviously, in our recruiting process. Now, when I say the recruiting process is from the standpoint of people who decided to become clients, okay, which one of those are we just going to maintain a simple client relationship? And which ones are we going to have more involvement internally?
Sure.
Every person that I'm talking about that is now able to give the company a boost are very high quality individuals as well. They bring a lot to the table.
It sounds like a wonderful formula in terms of the people that you're surrounding yourselves with, making sure that each of you brings something unique to the table, the mindset that you have, and really leveraging each other's skills. Philip, let me ask you this. We're going to go into wrap up mode momentarily. Before we do that, is there a topic that we haven't covered or a question perhaps I didn't ask, or even a message to the Deep Wealth Nation that you'd like to share with them?
That's a great question, Jeffrey. I would say, first and foremost, a message to fellow business owners is you got to make clear what your purpose is because day in and day out, I'm able to work 10, 12-hour days. Again, I don't work at all, but I'm able to do that because I'm fueled by my personal desire of owning an NBA team. Remember that. Whatever your version of the NBA team is, I would say it helps to certainly have that because that is the main motivating factor. That's what still keeps me going despite me not feeling my greatest, despite me maybe feeling tired, despite me feeling, oh, I'm going through some slumps, right? The energy and the motivation and the perseverance that come with everything that I do and still be gritty and operate and when encountering any forms of adversity or challenges or obstacles is because I have this big why. I have this big purpose to make it work. And by the way, what's so great is all of my business partners and internal team members, not only are they aware of my MBA goals and dreams, but they're also supportive of it as well, right? That's another thing. Earlier, you had asked, what are some, like, how did some people take it? I think the most important thing is, can they see a path towards the vision that you're talking about? And if you can show them that, you may not be there, but you're on the right path, it eliminates a lot of criticism. It eliminates a lot of concerns and worry. Because at the end of the day, from my family standpoint, like my parents, my sisters, at the end of the day, hear less noises in the background now because they see that I'm on a path that is, that has been able to sustain me for a while. There's no more, oh, are you going to be out of work in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? What are you going to do? There's momentum, there's traction, and they see that I'm building a team and I'm able to acquire clients that are also convicted believers of what we're doing and become internal team members. So what I would say to fellow business owners is, whatever it is, you definitely got to have that village, that support system, right? On top of independently speaking, right? Being self-sufficient with a purpose that drives you. Because if you don't have that purpose, you're not going to do the work, despite if it's an up day or down day, right? Like those intangibles are really more important than the sheer execution of the everyday, okay, I got to work on my marketing, I got to work on my sales, I got to work on building my sales. It's the thing that keeps you going internally, like the why. I would urge you to, if you don't have that, look into that and find it. Because once you find it, life becomes so much more joyful. Time flies by. You no longer have to look at the clock and go, when does this end? When is that going to end? It's just a all around fulfilling experience. And that's ultimately what you want, despite wherever you are. And that's where you find fulfillment in the journey.
Terrific what I'm hearing. It's have that moonshot, have that BHAG, whatever the language is, have something that's bigger than yourself. So you have that North Star, you have that vision to keep you going during the terrific times, but also during the challenging times.
It becomes this like puzzle that you have the borders and you're just trying to put the right pieces in place day in and day out. You know exactly the puzzle that you're going after. So those daily activities don't bore you and they excite you rather. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well said. And so, with that out there, Deep Wealth Nation, we're now going to go into the wrap up mode. Philip, you're no stranger to the tradition we have here on the Deep Wealth podcast. I have the privilege, I have the honor for every guest to ask the same question. Let me set this up for you as a friendly reminder, and hopefully, we'll have some fun with this. So, when you think of the movie Back to the Future, you have that magical DeLorean car that can take you to any point in time. Now, the fun part, Philip, is tomorrow morning, you look outside your window, not only is the DeLorean car there, the door is open, it's curbside, you're going to hop on in, and you're now going to go to any point in your life. Philip, as a young child, a teenager, whatever point in time that would be, what would you tell your younger self in terms of life lessons or life wisdom? Or, hey, Philip, do this, but don't do that. What would it sound like?
Man, that's such a great question. And I'm going to answer on the preface that I wouldn't change anything, because if I did, it would change who I am and why I am who I am now. What I would probably do is I would fly back to the version of me before I immigrated here to America. I was probably like, because I moved when I was 9 from Hong Kong. Right before I moved, maybe 7 or 8, and just go, you're destined for greatness. When you move to America, you're going to go through this journey and you're going to realize you're in a unique position to really create ripple effects, positive ripple effects that will change the trajectory of not like nationwide conversations, but even international and global conversations for a long time to come. Understand that you have this opportunity and embrace it as it's your responsibility, because not everyone has these resources in place. And so maintain gratefulness and understand that with great power comes great responsibilities. The fact that you're able to be privileged enough to go and broaden your horizon and perspective by immigrating to another country and live there, especially in Kansas. Right now, you're not really going to understand what that means, but maximize it. And don't be lazy and make the most of what's given to you, and you'll see huge dividends in your future.
Wow. So you are destined for greatness and the responsibility that comes along with that. What a terrific mindset. What a great way to look at things, particularly when things are so-called challenging or we're feeling the lows. Hey, you're destined for greatness. Keep this up. You're going to do it. You can do it. Keep on going out there. The greatness is waiting for you. What a terrific way to really have the Deep Wealth Nation walk away with something to think about. And before we wrap it up, Philip, somebody has a question. They even want to become a client. They want to become a member of your community. Where would be the best place online for someone to reach you?
Sure. So, we're mainly active on LinkedIn as investment professionals. Feel free to find me, Philip Jayhawk Chand on LinkedIn. Shoot me a message. Let me know you came from this podcast. Also, under the show notes, you should be able to see a calendar link if you want to book a call. I just want to let you know for the listeners here, if you book a call and mention this podcast, we have typically speaking paid client sessions on a weekly basis where at night we break down the futures and commodity financial markets, explaining how things happen and why they happen. While in the mornings, we actually go live, we prove what we teach, and we make money in front of you. If that is something of interest for you to be more exposed to and be more aware of, you can feel free to sit in on these sessions at zero obligation. You just got to book a call. That way we can identify the best 2 weeks that work for you. We'll also get to know you more as well in an interactive manner. LinkedIn, Philip Jayhawk Chand, and also feel free to book a call to secure your 2-week complimentary access.
And for Deep Wealth Nation, it doesn't get any easier. It's point and click. It's all in the show notes. Well, Philip, congratulations. It's a wrap. It's official. You've done it. You were terrific. Thank you so much. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while we remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff. Always a pleasure, man.
So there you have it, Deep Wealth Nation. What did you think? So with all that said, and as we wrap it up, I have another question for you. Actually, it's more of a personal favor. Did you find this episode helpful? Have you found other episodes of the Deep Wealth Podcast empowering and a game changer for your journey? And if you said yes, and I really hope you did, I have a small but really meaningful way that you can actually help us out and keep these episodes coming to you. Are you ready for it? The dramatic pause. I'll just wait a moment. Drum roll, please. Subscribe. Please subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast on your favorite podcast channel. When you subscribe to the Deep Wealth Podcast, you're saving yourself time. Every episode automatically comes to you. And I want you to know that we meticulously craft every one of our episodes to have impactful strategies, stories, expert insights that are designed to help you grow your profits, increase the value of your business, and yes, even optimize your post-exit life and your life right now, whatever you want that to look like. And every time you subscribe and a fellow entrepreneur subscribe, it's a testament to how together, yes, we are changing the social fabric of society. One business owner at a time, one liquidity event at a time. So don't let the momentum stop here. Subscribe now on your favorite podcast channel. You'll never miss an episode. You'll be the first to hear from the top industry leaders, the innovators, the disruptors that are really changing and shaping the business world. And maybe you're commuting, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're taking a well-deserved break that we spoke all about on this episode. The Deep Wealth Podcast, it's your reliable source for the next big idea that could literally revolutionize your business. So once again, please hit that subscribe button, stay connected, inspired, and ahead of the curve. And again, your next big breakthrough moment, it might just be one episode away. Maybe it was even this episode. So all that said, thank you so much for listening. And remember, your wealth isn't just about the money in the bank. It's about the depth of your journey and the impact that you're creating. So let's continue this journey together. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for listening to this episode. And as we love to say here at Deep Wealth, may you continue to thrive and prosper while you remain healthy and safe. Thank you so much. God bless.